Okay, let's get going with character profile of the week. We are doing Gloria Price because she is gone.
Out of there.
Price, yeah, out.
Priced out, yeah, there we go.
She was hardly in it at all. 169 episodes is all she's been in.
We barely knew her.
Yeah, she won our...
I think we knew her quite well,
She won our Best Newcomer Award in the first year that she was in. A year and a bit later, she's all gone.
Is she going to win the Tarara Award?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. She's not going to get the hat trick.
No.
Hat trick is 3, isn't it?
Yes. So she was born in 1942. She had only one child, Stella Price. Good job, really. Well, she might have had another one, but she neglected it. It's probably dead or something. Stella was born in 1963. And Gloria first appeared on the 5th of September 2012. So that
Who
was...
could forget?
That was what? When did we start the podcast? It was like August 2012, wasn't it? So that was like, must have been the first few weeks of our podcast, week 3 or 4 of our podcast. And now, 80 episodes later, she's gone.
Oh.
She last appeared on the 21st of February 2014 after those 169 episodes, and she is played by the rather famous Sue Johnston.
She is famous. She was best known before Coronation Street for her roles as Sheila Grant in Brookside and Barbara Royal in the Royal Family.
I didn't watch either of those programmes, really. I never really liked the Royal Family. I know it's... you're not really allowed to say that if you're British.
Illegal.
But yeah, I didn't really like the Royal Family. I don't know who.
Just clarify that you do like the actual Royal Family.
I do like the actual Royal Family, but not the TV show, the Royal Family. But from whenever I saw her, because we always had to watch it at Christmas, she seemed like quite a good character. I don't know. But so it's just another case of like getting a famous name in Coronation Street, and then they leave after a while, like Stephanie Cole. It was like a big thing at the time, but so
what was the point?
Yeah, I wonder whether that's going to happen with Jimmy Mystery as well, because
yeah.
I know he's not quite so big a name, but the fact that he's been like starring in films and stuff. Yeah, I wonder how long he'll last.
Did they achieve their aims?
What with
either of them?
I don't know what their aim with Gloria must have been, because
it's not. It was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, I mean, she came in, she was meddling.
She came, she saw, she conquered, and she ran off with someone else's man.
Yeah, it was. Well, we'll see that she hasn't really done too much, and
I liked her in it.
I quite liked her, but she wasn't very likable.
No, she wasn't supposed to be likable, but she had charisma.
I don't know how.
She's kind of like this Sharif guy.
She's was a bit
full of empty graces, you know that.
I just think that she didn't quite have that spark to make her likeable, like in the same way that Sylvia did, in the same way that Blanche did. She's
not lovable.
No.
Mhm.
Whereas Blanche kind of was, I guess. So another interesting fact about Sue Johnston in Coronation Street.
Go on, hit me up.
She had already been in it before. She was. Not as Gloria, of course. She played somebody called Mrs. Chadwick in 1982. She was in it a few episodes.
When in 1982?
August in 1982.
Oh, I wasn't born.
And she was the wife...
That's why I don't remember.
That was just before you were born, actually, wasn't it? She played the wife of somebody that Fred G had secretly hired out Annie's Rover to. Because Fred had this debt to this bloke, and he said, look, instead of paying you back, I'll hire out Annie's Rover to you when she's not looking, because I think Annie was on holiday or something. We didn't see this Mrs. Chadwick until a little bit later, and she turned up and said that, Fred, I've left my lighter in your car, and then he had to pretend to Annie that he was having an affair with her so that she didn't find out that her precious Rover had been hired out, and that was kind of the end of it, really. Yeah. So there's one picture, I think, on Corriepedia of Sue back in the days.
Back in the day.
Yeah, but
30 years ago.
And that was it for 30 years, yeah. The casting for Gloria was announced on the 2nd of April 2012, and according to Phil Collinson back then, she has been at the heart of the very best comedy and drama the UK has produced over the last 30 years, and will step into the heart of Coronation Street as her character, Gloria, taking up running the Rovers with daughter Stella. And then the casting statement also said, quite prophetically, I thought, and the ladies of Weatherfield soon discover they'll have to keep an eye on their men as she sets her sights on Dennis and Lewis.
And I had to point out to you that it doesn't actually count as being prophetic if you actually write the script yourself.
But I don't.
You're not predicting what happens. You're
Well,
telling
because
people what you're going to do.
2 years ago, it was never decided that she was going to run off and take Dennis
How
with
do
her.
you know?
I'm sure it couldn't have been, because Dennis was only, when did he come back in it? 2011 or so. They weren't deciding to get rid of him.
Yeah, but they said she's going to be a man-eater, and she was, and you're saying
she
it's
ate a man.
prophetically. Like, no, that's what they intended her to do. You're just confused because usually when they have a Corrie statement, they say things to say, this is going to be an amazing character, and it turns out they're boring.
Well, she started filming on the 26th of April that year, but then she was poorly. She fell ill, so they had to rewrite the script, and she didn't turn up until September rather than the spring start that she was supposed to have. So the backstory to the character is that prior to her arrival in Weatherfield, she'd burned down a dry cleaning business in Spain, which belonged to her partner Cliff.
She pretended that she was on the run from gangsters.
Yeah, because she turned up in the middle of the night one time, didn't she? And do you remember Ken was out there in his kimono?
His kimono, yeah.
Oh, we'll get to see that again soon. So she spent the first bit of her time in Coronation Street trying to reconcile Stella and Carl, because she always liked them when they were together, and she turns up and finds out that they're split up. Her first bit of meddling is trying to get them back together. She also starts trying to take over the Rovers, like she got rid of the hot pot from the menu. She was making herself quite unpopular. Stella couldn't be dealing with that, so she threw her out. That was after Gloria had offered Carl some shifts in the Rovers, so then she moves in with Nick and Leanne, and then gets their backs up as well. Gail manages to help her get back in Stella's good books in the end.
Phew.
She had that funny storyline mid-autumn that year where she was entering the Rovers into the Weatherfield Pub of the Year competition.
She pretended she was the landlady, but she wasn't. And then she wrote comments about herself in an anonymous comments book.
Yeah, and that was all quite funny, wasn't it?
And Norris realised something was up because he was trying to criticise things, and none of his comments ever appeared.
Yeah, well, he said that Gloria was vulgar or brash or something, and then she didn't like that.
No, but it was actually Lewis who exposed her as a cheat, because he was annoyed at her because she got involved in Gail's scheme to test his love for Audrey, and he made sure that she knew when she left in disgrace for Istanbul in the taxi. He whispered into her ear that it was all because of what she had done to him.
Yeah.
So basically he showed her up during this Pub of the Year ceremony, and it all came out what she'd been getting up to.
Yeah, no, she was off for another, what was it, 3 or 4 months then?
She's off for
so
a long time.
even this short time that she's been in it, half of the time she was barely in it. So she comes back.
Part-time worker.
Was it about February or March 2013, I think? And in the meantime, like you said, she'd been in Istanbul, and then she comes back with Eric Babbage, a fiance. I don't think he was from Istanbul.
No, I didn't think he was a carpet salesman.
Yes, but he realised actually that she wasn't all that. He saw her nasty side, because she was at the time getting involved with Peter because of how he'd been treating Leanne, and Eric was like, oh, Donna,
she's too much for me, I can't be bothered with this.
Yeah, but that's when he started setting his sights on Eva. Do you remember?
Yeah, he was buying lavish presents for people, and it kind of looked like he wanted Eva to marry him, or Eva definitely.
Well, he invited Eva off on a cruise around the world or something,
yeah, that's
didn't
right. Stella thought she was all set. But then
Gloria thought she was all set.
Sorry, before anyone could do anything, Eric just dies.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. So Stella and Eva then accuse Gloria of only being interested in his money, which she denies, she has to prove it by, didn't she use all his inheritance money to bury him or something?
Oh, there was something like that, because we get to see Eric Babbage's wife just for that one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite a rosy retirement.
No. Well, she got this £80,000 money later on in the year, because that was after the Rovers fire. And then she spent that on getting it repaired, because remember the prices were going to have to sell up.
Yeah,
and then,
Stella basically asked her to put money in, didn't she? And so she kind of had to. But she also thought that Jason was the one that set the fire, because he had a relationship with Stella at the time, and she suspected.
Yeah, well, she always thought
play.
that Carl was amazing, the bee's knees, didn't she? And
she couldn't believe anything wrong about Carl for some reason.
But she is forced to eat her words when it turns out that actually Carl was the one that burned down the Rovers and killed Salita. Him all along. So they then, later in the year, sold up the Rovers. Stella wanted to get out of there. She didn't want to live there anymore because of the bad memories with Carl. And then they start working in the bistro together. It was partly to help out after Nick's brain damage, wasn't it? She's not really done much sort of interesting since then.
No,
she's just hanging around, criticising people in the Rovers. She was concerned when Nick started, well, when he slapped Leanne on Christmas, because I think she did seem to have a bit of a soft spot for Leanne, didn't she? Because Leanne was like the granddaughter that she never knew, I guess.
Yeah, she's kind of like ready-made, isn't she?
Yeah, bit of a novelty.
Yeah, but she just kind of like has an acidic tongue, and she's in scenes where I guess they wish Blanche was still around, but she wasn't ever a patch on Blanche, and I think she would have agreed with that, because nobody can replace Blanche.
No.
So her main storyline leading up to her exit was being involved in Dennis's reinvigorated talent agency, where she helped him to book Richie, the amazing, talented, I don't even know, aging rocker. And she antagonises Rita when she gets close to Dennis and flirts with him. And I think it was partly because she liked Dennis and partly to annoy Rita.
Yeah. And she liked the attention, exactly. The whole thing was attention seeking.
In being a Scarlet Woman, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she did. Cause she admitted it as much. She's like, oh, I've got nothing better to do when you're my age.
Yeah, you might as well enjoy it while you can. And it sums up perfectly in her exit, where she bought herself a car with this money that she's got back from the Rovers, bought herself a little sporty convertible, got herself a pair of sunglasses in the middle of the night, and drove off with someone else's bloke into not the sunset, into the starry sky of Weatherfield.
She didn't care about anyone else's feelings.
No.
She didn't care for Rita, and
she didn't care that anyone wanted her to stay either. She just wanted to. She had itchy feet, I think, and the character's written quite well, because she has been back and forth and been all over the place. Istanbul, Spain. Yeah,
I guess so. Can't stay in the same place for too long.
Yep.
And that was all the storylines she had, really.
Yeah.
That was it. That was Gloria, and I don't think we'll see her again. I mean, the door's been left open, hasn't it? She's not been killed off, but.
Well, if any of the other characters, if Stella leaves, or, well, Stella's the main one, isn't she? I don't think Eva and Leanne are enough for Gloria to come back, to really make any sense for her to come back.
No.
So there you
go. That's it. It's a shame, really, because when they make these big name signings, you think, wow, it's going to be amazing, because it's got Sue Johnson in, and I think some of the things that she did in Brookside and the Royal Family, I've heard, have really shown what a fantastic actress she can be, and being able to do the comedy, but also the high drama and the pathos and everything. But we didn't really get to see very much of that with Gloria.
Yeah, I don't think that she ever really got a big enough part or a good enough part to justify her staying on. I think she's the kind of person that would have wanted to be the centre of the show, and she never really was.
Well, they tried to make her.
It's Stella's fault, because Stella was such a boring character.
Yeah, the fact that they had Gloria being the mother of the Rovers landlady, that should have made her a big character, but yeah, nobody really.
No one cares.
Stuart Blackburn couldn't wait to get rid of Stella from the Rovers, so Gloria wasn't really needed as a character. Nope. So her exit was announced last June. Well, she said she wanted to move on to other things. I guess she realised that her character wasn't going anywhere.
But she was.
Yeah.
Well, she was. She was going off somewhere in a convertible.
Yeah.
So when she debuted, she said of her character, Gloria, what can I say? She's a bit of a one-off. I don't know what people are going to make of her. She's not of the norm. She doesn't take prisoners, really. She makes enemies. She's outspoken. A very selfish woman, I think. But I have to find all the good things about her, otherwise I couldn't play her.
I think that sums her up quite well.
She did play her very sympathetically. You didn't really hate Gloria, even though she actually didn't ever do anything for anyone but herself.
I hated her at the end. I mean, when in the last few episodes, it looked like Rita and Dennis were going to get back together again, and then Gloria was like, "Oh, you're not going to be sleeping over at my house again."
That's Dennis's fault. Not. You can't blame the person that they cheat on.
But Gloria could have just said, okay, I haven't won this one. She could have left Rita and Dennis to live happily ever after. Yeah, and she did win it in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Well, why give up when you think you could win?
That's what she said. She said she wasn't going to give up.
Yeah, exactly.
She just takes what she wants, and she doesn't care about what other people think.
No.
But I think to be
If we're all like that, the world would be a worse off place.
I think to be a truly lovable character, you've got to like take what you want if you're going to have that, but you've got to care about other people.
I think the thing about Blanche, I keep coming back to Blanche, is that you never believe that she would screw her family over.
No.
She'd sit there and slag them off,
Yeah.
like to the end of the day of her days, and Gloria never really did that so much as Blanche did. But
No.
Blanche would never cross her family or do anything to hurt them.
No, I don't think so. Even Ken.
Even Ken.
So
there you go. That was Gloria.
it's a shame that they've got rid of another oldie.
Yeah.
Well, two
Need to
birds with
watch
one
out.
stone, isn't
Yeah.
it, Gloria and Dennis?
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
But we've got Sharif now.
Thank God for that.
Some kind of replacement, maybe.
We're
I don't
talking
know.
about him. Character profile of Sharif next week.
This is the first kind of proper character that we've seen come and go in the podcast.
Do you think?
Well, apart from like proper small characters like Eric Babbage, say, this is the first one that we've done a profile of that we've been around for the whole
Yeah, the whole
run
shebang.
of. Yeah.